Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm bringing you something that's going to blow your mind. If you thought Mustang couldn't get any crazier, any more powerful, or any more exciting, well, Shelby just decided to prove us all wrong. Because here it is, the brand new 2026 Shelby Super Snake-R Mustang. Yeah, just saying that name gives me chills. Shelby Super Snake. And now the R. That R isn't just some random letter. It's Shelby's way of saying this one is race-bred, track-inspired, and absolutely engineered to dominate. Now let's take a second. Imagine this. You're standing in a showroom, and right in front of you sits this beast. The wide body stance makes it look like it's flexing before it even moves. Those flared fenders, the aggressive front splitter, the massive rear diffuser, the carbon fiber wing. It doesn't just whisper speed, it screams it in your face. And then you look down at the wheels. 20-inch magnesium wheels, wider than most. Cars could even dream of handling. 11 inches up front, 13 inches in the back. That's not just a wheel setup. That's like strapping a set of racing slicks onto a road-legal monster. And speaking of monsters, let's pop the hood. Underneath, you've got a supercharged Gen 4 5.0-liter Coyote V8 with a Whipple 3.0-liter blower strapped on top. The result? Over 850 horsepower. Yeah, you heard that right. 850 horses just waiting to be unleashed. Think about that for a moment. That's not just power. It's insanity wrapped in steel, carbon, and heritage. And Shelby lets you choose. Go with a 6-speed manual if you want to feel every gear, every shift, every roar. Or pick the 10-speed automatic if you want lightning-fast shifts and maximum acceleration with no interruption. Either way, you're holding on for dear life once that pedal hits the floor. Quick quiz for you. If you had over 850 horsepower at your command, what would be the very first thing you'd do? Would you take it to the drag strip and melt some? Tires? Would you throw it into a corner at a track and see if it sticks? Or would you just cruise down Main Street, letting the world hear that supercharger whine and exhaust roar? Think about it, because I know each one of you probably has a different answer. But here's what makes the Super Snake-R different from just a high-horsepower straight-line machine. Shelby didn't just crank up the horsepower and call it a day. They went all in on handling, stability, and track performance. This thing comes with fully adjustable coil-over suspension. That means you can fine-tune the ride to your exact liking. Stiffer for the track, a bit softer for the street, or somewhere in between. And instead of rubber bushings like you'd find on most cars, they've used metal spherical bearings. That means zero deflection. Every single input you give, every flick of the steering wheel, every dab of the throttle, every tap of the brakes, translates directly to the car's behavior. No slop, no delay, no mushy feeling. Just pure mechanical connection. Shelby even added a harness strut bar across the rear towers to stiffen up the chassis. Think about that. This is a road car, but it's borrowing tricks straight out of the motorsport playbook. Add to that caster chalk camber plates for alignment tuning, thicker sway bars for body control, and massive 2-piece slotted brake rotors to haul you back down from warp speed. And suddenly you realize this isn't just a Mustang with more power. It's a Mustang that's been re-engineered for war. Now let's move inside. The moment you open the door, you realize you're not stepping into just another Mustang. The rear seats, gone, removed. Because who needs passengers when you're hunting lap times? In their place, a harness strut bar sits proudly, reminding you this is no compromise build. The interior is wrapped in fine leather and Alcantara, giving you both luxury and grip. Shelby plaques adorn the dash, each serialized, so you know exactly which car you're in. This isn't some mass-produced machine. This is one of just 100 units that Shelby will ever make. And yes, each one is officially documented in the Shelby registry. So if you own one, not only do you own a car, you own a piece of history. Okay, Here's another fun question for you. Be honest. If you were one of the lucky 100 people to own a Shelby Super Snake-R, would you actually drive it like it's meant to be driven? Or would you tuck it away in a garage, polish it every weekend, and treat it like a piece of artwork? Think about it. Because I know some of you are hardcore drive-it-like-you-stole-it types, while others would rather keep it pristine and collectible. No wrong answers here. Now let's talk weight. You'd think with all that added hardware, a supercharger, wide-body kit, massive wheels, suspension upgrades, this thing would weigh a ton more than the base Mustang Dark Horse. But here's the surprise. It tips the scales at just 4,004 pounds. That's only about 116 pounds heavier than the Dark Horse it's based on. That's wild. Shelby managed to pack in all those upgrades without bloating the car. And that lightweight magnesium wheel setup I mentioned earlier? It reduces rotational mass by about 37 pounds per corner. To put that in perspective, that's like stripping 180 pounds out of the car in terms of performance feel. That's why acceleration feels sharper, handling feels crisper, and braking feels more immediate. Shelby didn't just throw horsepower at the problem, they engineered it. Now let's talk about the numbers that matter to your wallet. Pricing. The 2026 Super Snake-R starts at around $224,995. And yes, that includes the donor car, the Mustang Dark Horse, in the build. Now I know that sounds like a lot of money, but let's put it into context. The Ford Mustang GTD, the other track-focused monster, starts at about $325,000. That's $100,000 more. And you know what's even crazier? The GTD makes about 815 horsepower, while the Super Snake-R makes over 850. So you're getting more horsepower, more exclusivity, and you're saving $100,000 in the process. That's Shelby magic right there. Now let's compare this car to its predecessor. The 2025 Shelby Super Snake was already insane. Over 830 horsepower, wide-body styling, optional magnesium wheels. It was a track-ready beast in its own right. But the Super Snake-R? This takes it further. More horsepower, more carbon fiber, better suspension geometry, a stripped-out interior, more track focus. It's not just an upgrade. It's like Shelby took the blueprint and said, what if we just went even more extreme? And they did. This is the evolution of the Super Snake legacy. And speaking of legacy, let's go back even further. The very first Super Snake appeared in 1967. Carroll Shelby himself built it as a high-speed demonstration car. It was all about showing the world what was possible when you pushed engineering to the edge. And now, almost 60 years later, here we are. The R designation is a first for the Super Snake, and it carries that same spirit, pushing boundaries, making a statement, and creating something that people will remember decades from now. Picture this. You're on a track day. You roll up to the line, helmet strapped, adrenaline pumping. The starter waves the flag, and you bury the throttle. The supercharger screams. The rear tires dig into the asphalt, and suddenly you're pushed back into the seat harder than you thought possible. The car feels planted, connected, alive. You take the first corner, and instead of understeer or body roll, the car just rotates perfectly. Every input you give translates instantly. Lap after lap, you're not fighting the car, you're dancing with it. That's the Shelby Super Snake-R experience. Now let's think about the exclusivity again. Only 100 of these cars will ever exist. That means if you see one in the wild, you're witnessing something incredibly rare. And if you own one, you're holding a piece of history that's going to become more valuable over time. Collectors are already lining up. But Shelby didn't build this car to sit in a museum. They built it to be driven, to be pushed, to be experienced. And that's the beauty of it. Before we wrap up, let's play one last round of What Would You Do? If you had the keys to the 2026 Shelby Super Snake-R right now, would you A. Take it straight to the drag strip and see how many tires you can burn through in a day. B. Head to your favorite twisty road and carve corners until the sun sets. Or C. Just park it somewhere public, rev the engine, and watch people's jaws hit the ground. Drop your answers in the comments because I know this is going to start a debate. And here's the thing, guys. This isn't just a car. It's a statement. It's proof that American muscle can still evolve, can still dominate, and can still make us feel like kids again every time we hear that V8 roar. The Shelby Super Snake-R isn't just about numbers on a spec sheet. It's about the feeling you get when you sit behind the wheel, the goosebumps when you hear it idle, the adrenaline when you mash the throttle, the pride when you realize you're part of a legacy that stretches back decades. So, my friends, that's the 2026 Shelby Super Snake-R Mustang, a car built for enthusiasts, for collectors, for dreamers, and for anyone who believes driving should still be about excitement. And if you loved this deep dive into one of the wildest Mustangs ever built, then you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and turn on the bell icon, because here on Cars IKEX, we don't just talk about cars, we live them. And trust me, the next video might just feature your dream car. So stick around, because this ride is only getting started.